Professor Illwill, Tyler's Wellness in the building.
Yep.
Eating Cafe, downtown Grand Rapids. If you haven't been, come check us out. We got some great caffeinated, non-caffeinated beverages for you guys.
Loving it. Like a great day. Today, kind of one of those rainier days. Kind of needed though. Today's
Rainy day at the cafe. Nothing wrong with it.
Absolutely. But yeah, Professor Illwill X Tyler Wellness. Here we go.
Fusion.
So, how's your week, bro?
Week's been good, man. It's only Wednesday, but we've been getting it done, man. Made some internet money. That I told you about. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What else? Train. We did some training. That's what we were talking about before we started recording. Was like working out. We went for did like 3 sets of push-ups, pull-ups, bodyweight squats, and then I went for a 3-mile run. I was pretty fatigued upon my arrival coming here, but now I'm starting to wake up. Starting to feel like that. I'm glad I got it done, man. I didn't feel like doing it at all, but I got that shit done, and I will reap the rewards for it. So,
best kind of rewards when you push yourself, to do the things that you didn't want to do, and then you're like, man, do that again.
Yeah, man. That's a vibe I've been trying to embrace more. Rather than seeking a result, focusing on building the character. Because I've noticed that, like in the past, I've set out to say, like, save this much money, but then you stop doing things that got you in that position. You start doing other shit. You start blowing money. You start traveling. You stop working hard. You start taking days off, and then you end up losing money. So, and that can equate to like I'm glad I learned that lesson younger in my youth. Now that I've done that, I don't have to experience that future. I can know now to build that character, keep doing things that got me in that position.
What's incredible is that you mentioned that now. In like this week, I had a chat with a friend, and we were talking about how, let's say you wanted to create a $100,000 investing account, right? And through me helping them plan how they can monetize their talents with skills to create extra streams of income to add towards that total balance to get to 100,000. Every step and every, there's going to be steps along this journey that they're going to become a different person along the way. Now that they start to make more money on their side hustle or turning their talents to income to then create the money that goes into the investment account, now they're going to learn that they can make more, right? So initially their goal was to have the investment account so that they could have a reoccurring amount of income that came in every month that paid for their lifestyle. But if they start to monetize their talents and skills, now they're going to learn the skill set to create that amount of money whenever they need. So that reoccurring amount is going to be way less, technically now, significance than when they finally arrived at that goal. They've learned so many more skills with that. It's just like nothing. They're like far beyond what they even needed that for. So trying to get the 100,000 so they have $1,000 recurring, like let's just say 10%, for math's sake, every month. But they've learned how to create $1,000 on demand. You see what I mean? Like, because if they
by learning to monetize their talents and income.
Yeah, these are like scaling it up too.
Right.
Like, because once you learn to monetize it, then you learn that there's small skills you can do to then get to another level. Like we were talking before, you add more to your skill set, now you become more valuable. As you become more valuable, now it's just a matter of lead generation and then closing. And then fulfillment, of course, too, but your fulfillment's getting better as you pour into yourself. Now you just got to pour into those other two skills to generate more leads and then close those leads.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, that's true, man. That's something to be said about like setting out on the path to whatever it is, I remember back in like college when I was like learning about like starting a business or like listening to the podcast about like starting a business. I found that I learned the most when I actually started a business. That's when I actually like started to develop the skills and everything that I needed as it came up. It's like, oh, like now you're gonna do a sales consultation with your personal trainer. Oh, I've never done that before. How do I do it?
Right.
Ask a fellow personal trainer. What do I need to do? Go in there, do it, fail. All right, well, and then you keep doing it, and then you get better, and then now you get like a higher closing rate.
Mm-hmm. Precisely. And
you're good at sales. You develop sales skills. You need to know that you need it.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I've realized, like, through my conversations with a lot of people who, aspire to become an entrepreneur or do things extra, or even just set small goals for themselves, right? The thing that stops you, once you realize this, it empowers you and it'll change your life completely. But the thing that stops you is not that the goal is too hard to achieve. Your goals are going to be hard to achieve regardless, because it's a gap between where you are currently and where you got to be. But what stops you is the realization that it's only a skill set gap, and you can learn any skill. Like your personality traits, if you break it down, any personality whatsoever, a lovely personality is just a matter of skills. A serious personality is just a matter of skills. A relatable personality is a matter of skills. So if you break down whatever traits you say you don't have, and then you ask yourself, how could you even slowly start to develop that? Now you start to develop a plan to become more personable, more serious, more whatever traits you choose. And you don't need to have everything already. You just have to start. Because like you said, there's no way that you're going to be like, all right, I want to be a business owner and then be able to know all of the things that you're going to need to know to be a business owner already before you start. It's impossible.
Yeah, that is something we said. It's like people want to wait till we're ready. Like, oh, like I'm gonna get ready first, and then I'm gonna start the business. Like I'm gonna save this much money, and then I'm gonna learn these books, and then I'm gonna take these courses, and then I'll be ready to start the business. And it's like you need to start before you're ready. You just have to jump into it sometimes, and then along the path, you'll learn all these different skills. You'll come up with a problem that will present itself, and then you'll have the opportunity to practice problem solving, critical thinking. And now you have that as a skill. I can problem solve and I can do critical thinking. And you get the ability to solve whatever that problem is. Develop yourself along the way as you build.
And that goes into something that I strongly also agree with. It's like, I'm a student of life, right? There's always things to be learning every day. If I feel like at for any point, at any time in life that I'm stuck, or I can't make advancement, or things aren't working, I can learn new things. I can approach things from different perspective. I can take a step back, pause, and then re-tackle it after maybe just getting a new perspective or having a conversation that may seem unrelated, but then it gives you the insight necessary to then look at this, right? Like whatever it is, there's always something you can do differently or learn something new to then change your outlook for what you do next. Because all we do is a matter of, I guess I call this thing like the password. It's like the secret of life. It's what we do, what we know, and what we believe, right? The actions that we take, what we do. The only reason that we do these things is simply because we know, in general, the type of feedback that we'll get if we do this, right? Is it positive feedback? Is it negative feedback? If you walk into a room and then you just yell, like, are you going to get negative feedback or positive feedback? Probably negative. So then you're most likely not going to walk into a room and just randomly yell, because you know from previous experiences being a baby, you're like, hey, you're screaming, you got to calm down, chill. So you've learned that. So now you think you know this. Because you think you know this, and this is how you think your environment will respond if you do certain things, you create a belief system. Now, all of these belief systems, you could tackle them. You could just randomly walk into a room, scream, and then people look at you, and they don't react at all. and that changes what you thought you knew. And then because it changed what you thought you knew, now you might do it again. You might go into another room and scream, and just to test things. But the reason we do what we do is because of what we think we know about our environment, because of our belief systems that we have. And we may never tackle the belief systems because they're so far embedded between like just what we see in our environment. Because of what we see, we think we know how everything is going to respond to us. And because we think we know how the responses are going to be, we do or don't do things. You're going to not take action in your business because you think you know the response of your friend is not going to be supportive. You think you know the response of your family is not going to be supportive. You think you know you're going to fail, so you don't want to do it. But like, you can tackle each of these things too from any of these points. You know, learning new information, tackle what you know. Just doing it, taking new action, gives you feedback. You can change your belief system. You can pinpoint what your belief is about a thing and then challenge it with questions and then actions. So that is why I call it the password or the key to life.
Yeah. Yeah, that is very true, man. That a lot of what you said in there, especially about the part that like you're gonna fail.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's something that people we often we're so caught up in like, yeah, we want to avoid pain and then we want to like pursue pleasure. So if we don't try this thing, that means that we don't have to fail, which means that there's no rejection, or that there's like you can just stay soft and comfy and cozy and nothing has to hurt. But in that you won't be able to experience like greatness, you know, or like getting to a higher level in life because you're so afraid of that failing. So it's good to get comfortable failing because you're going to fail on the path to growth. You know, that newborn child who's walking, he falls, he gets back up because he's trying. Eventually he can walk. So I think that's important. On the path to growth, try to fail. You know, not try to fail, but like expect that you're gonna fail. Do your very best, but know that you're gonna fail. But from that failure, you're gonna grow. Something like in Dragon Ball Z, every time when the Saiyan's defeated in battle, he gets stronger. Zenkai was. Yeah. So it's like me. I look at it like every time I go into like sales consultation, I come with like this set level of knowledge. It's like, all right, I'm like, yeah, I tried these different sales strategies, or I tried to like sell them this way, I tried to persuade them this way, and then it doesn't work. It's like, damn, I failed. But I tried as hard as I could. That made me better, and then I'll go out in the pursuit for new knowledge. Now I need to learn more. I need to get better at sales. Now I need to listen to more sales books, more sales training, so that I can overcome that objection, or I'll look back and be like, oh, well, you know, I could have said this or did this differently in hindsight. And then you get better from there. So go out there and fail. Go out there and fail, man, because that's the only way to get better.
Right.
Trying. If you're failing, it means you're trying. And then something else that was cool that you hit on was like, in that is like to always be learning. ABL. One of my coaches and a guy I look up to, Tom Bilyeu, that's one of his things. It's like always be learning. Like every single day you should be learning something. Like at least like an hour out of every single day. Study some type of new information. That can be like podcasts. That can be you listening to us, relearning something, learning something new, reading a book, something that you're interested in. So that way you can learn, you can get from the day. You know, so that way you can keep growing. Because, you know, knowledge, like Tyler was saying, knowledge is the only thing that separates you from the person that you want to be, is a skill set and the knowledge. You know, if you knew better, you would do better. Like my boy Spence Crosby would say, if you knew better, you would do better. So a lot of us just don't know. You know, it's not the information that you know. Well, it could be too. The information that you know is what's hurting you, but it's oftentimes just the information that you don't know. You know, like I wish I would know a lot of this stuff back when I was 20. I'd be in a much better position now. But I know it now. But what if I could like learn all the information that I need to know by the time I'm 40 right now? You know, that could put me in a better position by the time I get to 40. I know the information I need at 50. You know, so you could always be learning, be ahead of the game, be ahead of the curve. You know, and it's something like just last night I was listening to one of my coaches. He was talking about how, you know, back when we were slaves, us black folks of melanin, they enslaved us. Well, everybody. I think they had slaves all over the world, but in our particular situation in America, you know, the slaves, they didn't allow the slaves to read or to learn because they knew that if the slave would read, they'd get smarter eventually. And once you get smarter, you like stop. You start like, you know, defying rules. You start making rules. You start creating things. You start reading, writing books. You do a lot of stuff. So take that to your advantage, man. You have the ability to learn, keep learning, keep growing. Because they try to deny us of that. It's powerful. Information is powerful.
Absolutely. I want to tackle something that you said in there too. Tons of gems. One thing that stood out, that it's going to be a controversial take for sure. Because it's just like every controversial topic stems from this. And you mentioned that the information that you have could be what hurts you. And that is what it is. Like, let's take every controversial topic you can think of. Right now, the big stuff would be like, you know, misogyny versus like some misogynistic viewpoints. All of anything that's polar, basically. Because you have a lens that you
transgenderism and the war on masculinity and people's rights, gay rights, and the kids. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Absolutely. And like, because of the information
wars.
Because of the information that we have, like even amongst like us, being black, like there's a lot of belief that keeps you not, like, when you learn information, you elevate yourself above, like, hearsay. And, like, I'll say hearsay because there is a cloud of belief that keeps you enslaved to being a victim. And once you have information that empowers you, you no longer perceive the world as a victim. You realize the part that you can play in it. You realize how you can take control and actually do a lot. And that these narratives that disempower you don't actually exist unless you allow them to. Like, again, like modern day slavery is dead slavery. It's not about your color. It's about how much you owe and who you owe it to. You're always going to have to work if you owe someone money. And if you have no resources because you can't build because you're paying someone else's debt back, you never establish. So, like, you learn to establish something, you learn to build on your own, you learn to be your own bank, you learn to then do things in your own systematic way, for your self-interest when you need loans from your own money. You learn to then create trusts, you learn to pour into life insurance policies that then buy future life insurance policies so it passes around wealth down to future generations. You learn how to evolve from the standard life that everyone around us is living because of the lack of information, and you realize that the difference was access, and now we have access. We can access what made people rich and what kept people poor. We can access historic documents and read about history, what created the wealth gap. Instead of being mad at the fact that it exists, it will currently and it will continue to expand and continue to get bigger if you don't just educate yourself. And that's it. That is the gap. The gap is education. The gap is like self-empowerment. The gap is like realizing that these narratives that we're given and then we're told to vote on a side is to keep you distracted and basically weak to the narrative. If certain things are going on, like you see the fact that like Okay, an acorn seed, you plant it into the ground, you water it, it becomes an acorn tree. We don't ask why does it become an acorn tree, we just know that it is. So you know that there is an income gap. We should not ask why does it exist, you should ask how. And then like what can you do with that? Why, like the question why is because of information. Now if the answer is because of information, now educate yourself. Inform yourself. That's it. That's it. Like, use these facts.
Big facts. Yeah, I think a lot of times, like, you see it, like, people are just caught in, like, a victim mindset of, like, oh, I'm just this way, and, like, this is how our family is. Everybody in our family has high blood pressure. Everybody has diabetes. We're black, so society looks at us a certain way, and we can't do these certain things. And those are just all self-imposed limitations that have been passed down to you from your family, from their past trauma, and you don't have to accept that. At least you can accept it, but you can choose to do something different. You don't have to allow that to hold you back, and you can choose what you want. But we live in an information age. There's honestly too much information, have over access, and I think that's what's slowing you down. You get distracted by all this stuff that's triggering you emotionally when you can be like learning about what stocks or how to increase your skill set so that you can make more money, or how to get better at a specific task or skill so that you can generate more revenue. But instead we're just sucked in and we're like, well, this is what's the problem is, and this is what we need to speak out, and you're sharing all this stuff that's not really changing anything about your situation. It's just like triggering people, you're angry, it's distracting you, and you're not making any forward progress. It's just slowing you down. And that's a goal too of the people who are in charge, is to just distract you, to shake up those ants inside the jar so that they go to war with each other, so that they don't realize that they're all ants. How we get out of the jar,
With that same thing in mind, like with that concept, because like that goes into the civilizations and growth, and people don't always see it like this because in our modern day civilization there is no Roman Colosseum, there is no early establishment, so it's harder to see, right? But like if you have a whole bunch of just, let's just say, humans drop on this floating rock in space called Earth, and then they start meeting each other, naturally socialization is going to happen. You start to communicate, you then have fights and all these things that just natural, right? Eventually you may collaborate and work together. For you to build a society that grows, people have to rise up to leadership and be the ones who decide things. Now, certain family members back in the past, when the civilization's getting established, will become the families that are known for the protecting, or for the leading, or for building the homes or whatever. Like you become, like your family becomes a master at building homes, and then you guys are building it for the whole village, and then they become the master of security, and they become the master of whatever. So like that's how you get all this stuff. Then several years later, you have these people who have created rules the whole family has. You may now become a democracy, and now you have voting and stuff like that, and all this stuff is different. But it's already been indoctrinated, like, who is the leader? They already think differently. They already look at the world differently than the other people. So then you start to realize how to influence voting, how to influence public decision, how to keep people distracted, how to keep them, blind to things, right? And if, say, the leaders wish to keep you distracted, go to the Coliseum. Everyone goes to the Coliseum. It takes up space in their mind. So now they're, favorite team, football, basketball, all this stuff, right? They get distracted. Real issues, the leaders are not watching the game at the Coliseum. They're discussing the issues. They're making policies. They're doing the actual things that the people could do, but they're distracted with the Coliseum. And that's it. Like, that's how it always has been. Like, if I have information on a topic because I educated myself, but I kept you distracted from you even knowing the topic existed, and then all of a sudden the issue now presents itself, I come in with a solution, And you, who's faced with now the issue, have no other choice but to either experience the issue and try to think of a solution fast, or take my solution.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like taking your car to a mechanic and you just know nothing about cars. No, but the mechanic's janky. So he fixes one part, but then he loosens one thing, and then you take it back, and then you gotta like keep coming back and paying him more money. It's like a lost situation.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, yeah, we'll fix the policy for you. Like, we'll make this happen. So then, they'll make some rules and stuff, which then creates another issue. So then you got to go to them for that issue. Kind of like modern day pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, big facts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a scam.
Yep. Or take this pill, which it may solve your issue.
Yeah,
but it also could
more side
give
effects.
you right all this long list of side effects
in small text.
Yeah. Oh, and if you have any of these, you got pills for you, by the way. That may work.
So I did. Sure.
Yeah, it's a whole system, man. But that's a lot. That's a big topic to get into.
It's a big topic. I mean,
we don't want this YouTube channel banned.
They're like, oh, man, send them.
If you know, you know. If you don't know, now you know.
Yeah. Well, that's
right?
Hopefully, get the
educate. So like now I've just been like, I've dived in and I've been looking at a whole bunch of stuff with my books and my audiobooks, podcasts, people like Luke Belmar and all those other people too. Like, everyone's on it, and like the thing is, like, I even see it every day. I see what's going on in other countries when they're talking about cryptocurrency and then switching off the dollar and all this stuff and what that means. I've read The Creature from Jekyll Island. I've read these things. I know what this means. Why are we talking about none of it? like none of it's on the news. So not like I watch the news anyway. But
no, do you?
No, I don't. No. No, I was saying like not like I watch the news anyway.
Yeah, don't watch the news, man. Give you blues. Don't watch the news.
Yeah. But
yeah, like I said, I wasn't trying to.
I don't know. It's quite a bit.
Too much.
It's good to be aware. Good to build your character. Like I was saying, we often, we want to blame the situation that you are in on your circumstance, but you can change your situation. But to do that, you'll change your character. Like a simple example that I was given is just like, say for example, you want to lose 10 pounds. It doesn't matter about if you have diabetes and all this type of stuff. You want to lose 10 pounds. Okay, start there. Track your calories. Work out every single day. Track your calories every single day. Create a 500 calorie deficit. Do that for 90 days consecutively. No matter what, you're going to lose at least 10 pounds. But people, they focus on the results so much. Like, how long is it going to take? How long am I going to have to do this for? How long does it take to get growth in this particular thing? Just do it until. That's all I can tell you. You just have to. You got to do those three things until, and you have to keep doing it after that as well.
There it goes. That reminds me of something you said earlier that sparked an idea I was talking about, which was the do it until mindset, right? I've seen people in the gym. They're like, I can't do a pull-up, so they won't try. And because they won't try, they'll never get better. Because they'll never try to get better, they'll never be able to do it until. Like, if you want to be able to do 10 pull-ups, you gotta at least get one. So you gotta at least start to try to do the action to become a person who can do one. In order to become a person who does one, you show up, you start to, as you show up, you start to then become the person who shows up. Well, the person who shows up maybe starts to ask questions. They may ask questions on, how does this work? How can I do this? They look around, they observe. So I think it was Tom Billion who was mentioning a story of a guy he knew who he challenged to go to the gym like for 5 minutes a day to start off. The guy just went to the gym, 5 minutes, walked in, did a workout. Goes in the next day, 5 minutes. Eventually he felt like going to the gym just for 5 minutes was kind of stupid. So he was like, I may as well stay for a little while. So he goes to the gym, he works out a little longer, and then he tries some new machines, gets these things going. And then eventually he's going for like 30 minutes, or, then maybe like a 45, an hour session. And I think what he ends up, for him specifically, I think he was a weight loss guy. He lost like a lot of weight and then became pretty toned and muscular. But just the habit of becoming the person who shows up turned him into a person who achieves the results he wanted. And like you said, you can't focus so much on the result. If you want to do 10 pull-ups, but you can't do one because you haven't learned how and you haven't tried, become a person who tries. The person who does the attempts to do a pull-up. Like the things I do now, with a pistol squat, I couldn't just do a pistol squat. I had to become capable of doing a pistol squat. Like, it's not like I'm just born, I got the pistol squat genetic.
Yeah, that's one of the wackest arguments I hate to hear.
I almost like,
well, you just have good genetics. Like, yeah, genetics, yeah, it probably does play a role in it, but you still have a lot of power. I say we're like at least 50% malleable.
Yeah.
That's a lot, So to just count yourself out like, oh, yeah, they're just talented, or they just have good genetics. They probably worked really hard to obtain that. They probably tried every day. They're probably just that type of person. That comes back to just building the character. Doing the thing that person does. You take a fat guy, you take a shredded guy, you switch their brains. The fat guy is going to have a shredded person brain. What's a shredded person brain? Works out every single day. Tracks his calories. Eats salads.
Drinks water.
Does all the healthy habits.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. What's going to happen over a week, months, years? He's going to get shredded back again because it's in his mind. So it's that mindset switch. The skinny dude who got the fat guy's brain, what's he going to do? Not work out or skip workouts. Eat poor food. Not learn or want to do anything to change his diet. Eat sugary, palatable, tasty foods that taste good, that don't uphold any nutritional value. Stay up and not sleep and do all the bad habits. Be distracted on social media until he gets hungry. And then eat some food. And then what's going to happen to that skinny guy's body? He's going to get fat. So it's really about just embracing, becoming that person. What kind of person do you want to become? What does that person do on the daily? What does that person's day look like? What time does he wake up? What foods does he eat? How much water does he eat? Does he work out every day? Does he skip workouts? Probably not. Does he study? Does he work on his business? And then to put that on a list. And to look at that list every single day. And then when you are in alignment with that list, it's going to create dopamine. It's going to create a sense of fulfillment because you're walking in alignment with the person that you know you want to become. Even if you're not that person just yet, you'll have a sense of satisfaction knowing that you did as much as you can. You did what that person would do. And then if you don't do what is on that list and you do like other stuff, then you're going to look at that list and it's going to make you feel bad. You're going to feel pain.
On a freshly, that example of the swapping brains, fire.
Yeah.
I want to freshly hop on that and like, because an argument that I see quite a bit is like the whole, again, like the world tries to divide us, making us pick sides with polarity, and all of it is really just how we think about issues. So like I've seen a issue push where it's like, hey, we should just take all of, like, because of the fact that it says like the top 10% own most of the wealth, right? Even rich. Yeah, you hear all that, and like, I'm not top 10%. I'm not. But yeah. But the thing is, I realized that even if we took all of that and evenly distributed it, when you give a person a lottery, within a couple of years they go broke again because they didn't learn the skills necessary to keep the money.
I've even heard that some people commit suicide. Some people that a lot of people who like win the lottery, they end up committing suicide because they'll like get the money, they'll go all crazy, and then they'll be like in a worse position than what they were when they didn't have money. That's the thing about like money, power, affluence. It gives you leverage. You know, if you're just like a normal, brokey, just normal person, you don't have like a lot of leverage to like fuck shit up. When you got like millions of dollars, power, affluence, you can like, you got more power and leverage to like fuck more stuff up. And that's what those people do, man.
Quite a bit. Yeah, like, and it's like, because even if we, like I said, took all the world wealth and redistributed it to everyone, even if you didn't become like multi-millionaires immediately, that amount of now new leverage that you just have access to, you're going to be, you didn't learn the skills to acquire it, to build it, to get it. So you may blow through it, and you don't know how to get it again. You may create debts that you can't repay because now you have this lump sum of money. You may overspend. You may do all these things, right? It's so easy to go back into the situation that you always had when you never earned it. And the thing is, people who had the money, because they learned how to earn money. You can't make money. You go to jail. It's illegal. Banks, mints make money. We earn money. We take money by providing value. So if you learn that you have to become more valuable and provide skills in exchange for money, you can learn creative ways that would make people just want to give you that money, right? So the people who had the riches in the past are going to become wise again, or stay wise as they always were, and then find creative ways to get back the riches from the people who just now got all this money from the sky.
Yeah, you'll see that a lot. Like, millionaire gives all his money, or cuts the access to all of his banks, and then he just goes back to the streets homeless, and then he's like rich like in a year or something.
Yeah. Because it's the skills.
Yeah, it's the mindset. You know, they're that type of person. They built the character to maybe be frugal, save money, look for ways to make more money, so that it adds up, and then they get themselves back in a good situation. And then that's something to think about too. Is like a lot of other people are like, yeah, we want a reparations. We want money for like the slavery that we had to endure. And I get it. But it's like, how is that going to help you really? You saw a lot of people who got their stimulus checks.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you get their stimulus check, and now they're like buying stupid stuff, buying bigger bags of weed now, buying alcohol, splurging on food, just buying Jordans, just a bunch of just buying a bunch of frivolous shit that they never even bought before. Maybe in smaller amounts, but now they're buying it more. And then all the money, whose hands does it go back into? The same people who gave you money.
Yep.
And it's just like, that's what's gonna happen. That's all that's gonna happen. So you have to really change your mindset. You know, it's not. There's a quote, a saying they'll say is like, money just amplifies who you are. So if you're already a person who like lacks character, undisciplined, you're just like searching for a high, like smoking weed, you're drinking, you're eating just whatever type of food. When you get rich, you're just gonna do more of that hedonistic activities. You're gonna have bigger bags of weed, wrapper weed with like crystals in it and all types of crazy shit. More exclusive drugs, and now we're gonna do more alcohol. The $80 shots of Hennessy now that we can do. Before, when it was just a small amount of Hennessy or cheaper or something. More extravagant food. Now we're eating a salt-based restaurant instead of like the local Chinese food place. So it's just like, you have to really like tap in and understand that like it's just gonna amplify who you are. So it's like, becoming a better person with a better character, then the money will help you.
Absolutely agree. That it's just facts right there. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
That's cool.
you become the type of person that, like, you're already on trajectory to become based on your habits. And if you have the habits of already being more on the consumer side, getting a lump sum of access, getting a lump sum of handouts to you, you're gonna then use it the same way you always have. You know, it's like when if someone has like a high credit utilization and they are maxed out on multiple credit cards, they get a credit limit increase, they're most likely going to use the rest of that credit limit increase. You know, so like,
I feel like
that's really it. It's just you have to develop the habits that are going to get you to maintain the lifestyle you want. If you did get that lump sum of money, now learn how to treat it differently. That's what if they do, not a lot of people, but like the wise people, if they do win the lottery, they'll get like a financial advisor, someone that just saying where to put the money or how to use it or get the most out of it for the long term, right? Because you know that's really it. You never had it. You've always driven go-karts and then you're given the keys to a Ferrari. It's gonna be dangerous.
Sounds like he doesn't even have a driver's license. Driving go-karts, jeez. You're still gonna be a bad driver.
Right.
You're gonna be driving the Ferrari like a go-kart?
Right. Oh man, he's in the grass.
You had said something. And that's the thing too, is like work hard, be smart, always be learning, build your character. Eventually you will win and you'll have success. But at the top of your success, that's where the danger zone is. That's where you have the most leverage to fuck up some shit, because now you got all this money, all this power, all this affluence. The key there, and the hardest part, is to keep going hard. Like my coach, he's one of those millionaires. He's like, he was in his early 20s. He started waking up 4:30 a.m., work out, eat healthy, study, make some money, rinse, repeat, recycle. Did that for like 10 years, made it, and he's rich. He still wakes up at 4:30, still works out, still eats healthy, still does all the shit. Health, learning, studying stuff. And it's like, most people, if you just gave them $10 million, they'd be like, oh, like, I don't need to wake up early anymore. I'll just And I was like, yeah, that's a good question. It's like, man, I would kind of be like, yeah, I can kind of relax a little bit. I kind of feel like that. But you have to keep that same mindset of like, keep going hard, even when you have the success, because a lot of times when you have the success, now you got all this leverage, then you fuck it up, and then boom, now you see a big spike. You use your leverage, and now you've ruined your riches, your success, your power, whatever it is. So that's the key, is to keep going hard. Even when you're winning, play like you're losing. Play like you're down when you're like basketball. That's one of the things they told us in the basketball game too. Is in my youth, it's like when we're playing, keep playing like we're losing. You don't want to play like, oh, we're ahead. We gotta take it easy. Start doing trick shots. Now keep the foot on the gas pedal. Don't let up. Don't let up on your goals.
Because you're kind of bringing this back full circle now, because you mentioned, continuing to push, right? And like you said earlier, if I helped a person to achieve their goal of creating a $100,000 dividend portfolio, which would then create maybe about 10% reoccurring, which would cover most of their lifestyle expenses where they're currently at right now. In becoming a person who's monetizing their skills and then scaling it up to then create that amount, you're gonna, like, once you start to do that, you're not gonna want to stop. Once I reached the goal, well, let me just go back to a menial $1,000 a month from dividends and live off that. Like, you've been monetizing like your skills and you're just flying. Why would you wouldn't just be like, hopefully you wouldn't. You're just like, I made it, chilling, wrap it in. Like, I'll just go back to ramen. Like I feel like you'd find new creative things that you'd like to do and find elevated ways to do things. Like I don't know. When I started to work out, it starts off as doing basic workouts. Do some push-ups, pull-ups, bench press, maybe, whatever. Like some basic stuff that you find. Here's some curls. As you go, then those actions get easy. Then you modify it, or you find slightly harder things to do. Find creative ways to challenge yourself. You go for the heavier weights. You go for more reps. You go for compound motions. You do time under tension, and a whole bunch of different ways to keep building on that same skill set. And that's what you'll do as you scale up. You might reach the 100,000 goal, and now you're like, well, it took 1 year or 2 years. Let me see if I could do that again now with what I know faster, or differently. Now that you've got the base dividend coming in that you wanted in the first place, you've learned all these skills to get it. Do something new. Like just use your newfound platform, your newfound positioning to create a new way to tackle the problem.
That kind of reminds me of something that David Goggins is always like. He's always like that too. Like, don't let up. Like, that's what he was on it with his journey. Is like I think he broke like the pull-up record or something like that. And he's like, you can't just climb the mountain and then like climb back down the mountain. You climb the mountain and then you look up and then there's another peak you have to climb. You're like, oh fuck. Gotta keep going up the mountain. Gotta keep going. There's always another goal to keep chasing after. So many people like get to the top and then they'll just like ease off and like, oh, I'll come back down. I did my thing. But then the people look at you like, man, like what happened? Like you used to be the man, but you always want to stay like the man.
Yeah.
Some sort of way.
Yeah. You can see it. It's not a fun sight when you can tell someone was the man, but they're not anymore, and they just relive their glory days through the stories they tell.
Right. Back in the 1990s, I used to have the Jag. You see all the dope boys talking like back in the 1990s, I used to have the Jag on the rims. I had all the girls. I had all the money. I had all the ice, the clothes, the freshest clothes, and then I went to jail and I fell off, and then they never come back to that same peak. They just relive their glory days. But back in the day, man, when I was young, I was your age, I used to have all the same stuff, but now you do Uber.
Mm-hmm.
Now you do Uber Eats.
And then bringing this to another aspect too, just remembering, not like me just remembering this, but just like for audience sake and stuff. All of this materialistic being and existence is all temporary. I can't take any of this when I go. So right now, I do see this as a game. I see it as a game, truly. Like my character, my person, my being, I have skills that I can learn and pour into, just like in a game. I have the ability to influence lives. I can take on quests and journeys and adventures. And through my living of my life and my influencing of other people, I can elevate theirs or lower it. I aspire to elevate others up while also living my best self. And so, again, the challenges, the quests I choose to take on will only continue to develop my character. But at the end of it, I can't take any of this inventory with me.
True. But you can live a life worth remembering and impact the lives of others and help other people.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, live a fulfilling life.
Mm-hmm.
Not one that was just hedonistic and you just enjoyed while you were here and then you die and just people forget about you.
Yeah. Other than people that you hurt and scorned and then they pass the stories of how you hurt them down. And, yeah, I'm like that, fam.
Now you're infamous.
Yeah, now you're infamous. That's how I get it. Yeah. Hedonistic lifestyle, man.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
No, that's not good. It's not good. Don't sacrifice good for greed.
Yeah. But anyway, though, don't mean to bring it too much again, but people I know, they don't necessarily tap into the spiritual side of things. So that I know, like, some people like tune out when they hear this, but I'm going to say it, at least as it is. I do believe that, I'm more than this physical being. There is, when you break it down, and you can break every aspect of life down, but even beyond the atoms, you can go down, down, and down. The only thing that exists is energy. And because of energy being the only thing existing, energy vibrating differently creates solids, gases, liquids. So because of that, there is an energetic source that flows through all of us. And I would be crazy to believe, or not to believe, that energy is not somehow affected by what energy I am thinking and for doing physically, like putting out physical actions, because I have impact on things. We see it if, like, there's scientific studies where they take water and they praise it and they freeze the crystals and it's like snowflakes. And then they also take that same water and they are saying like negative words towards it, and you get like these weird ugly shits. Like, there's all this stuff about energy and stuff out there. I'd be crazy to not think that there's something greater for my purpose, and if I choose to like live a hedonistic lifestyle, that has no consequence. You know what I mean?
True. Energy matters, man. You do good this time, you might come back as a different form of consciousness to continue down that path. If you don't, you might come back as like a frog or something. He squandered it. He just like did drugs and just had fun. Just turn him into a frog or a tree or something. He was
right. Oh man,
slowing down.
Right. Oh man. You are in a life of then you gotta go there. And you gotta go up the next step. Yeah, this is a good conversation.
Yeah, this is solid, man. So few takeaways, man. Build the character. Focus on the character. Forget the results. Well, we got the result always in mind, but focus on building the character, because the character is what's going to get you the results.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Any last things you want to say for our audience today?
No, I think that's pretty much it, man. Always be learning. Keep building your skills. Follow us on our socials. There's some links in the description below. Like the channel, like the video, share the video, and signing out, man. Professor Illwill, CEO of New Wave Coaching. We'll see you guys in the next video.
Cyber Wellness, helping open-minded individuals monetize and turn their talents and skills into income. See you guys in the next one. Peace.
Peace.
Perfect word.
Nice.